what happens after a week or so is that your hands become smart. Your hands become able to, the index goes and does this, and you can begin to follow instructions. And then you can begin to encode with an algebra. And I haven't shown you 10 men, but I want to show you 10 men now. I'm not going to, there is a website that I have. That, when it's running, that's me on my website. But if you look at the home of the website, under string figure videos, there will be the diamonds, there will be 10 men, there will be all sorts of things that you can learn from, because I have my hands doing it, and you can practice doing it by watching my hands. So I want to try to do the next figure. And let me borrow the string. I think I did that.
You want this one?
Maybe I can handle that, I think. Because 10 men.
So when did you learn to do such things?
I
like a second language for you?
Well, I found this one here from a book. And this is what started me. Notice, don't do it. Because you have to learn how to pay attention and then remember later and then do it. I mean, that's part of the thing. I do the same thing. I drop my thumb. But now I'm going to use my teeth. Traditionally in the Pacific Islands. Teeth. And then crisscross until I can get the straight across strings, top and bottom there. And that's what I call a loom. And then I can reach in between there and pick up the near little finger string, pick up the top string, Navajo the loops, which y'all now know what I mean when I say Navajo the loops. Pull this one off to finish, and I have information. I can put this back up on top to reset my loom. And I do the same thing again. But this time I go finish, I reach and I get this from here. And I drop my little finger and I turn my hands inside out again. And I have a much more complex web. And this is the one that I tend to start people on in my class. Because it is magic from the beginning. It's actually easier to do than the diamonds. But I do the diamonds because that is a little system that you can learn, which is enough of a little system that you can see the whole idea of learning the system. But you see, I can, there's an A, I call it. Now I can go over there and pick that up. That's a C. So I can weave more than twice, A, C, A. Every time I use different weaves, I get a different figure. And so all of a sudden, the students are making their own figures because they are looking at how they do it. And it's fun to be able to go experience and to investigate on your own. And I have 10 basic weaves, or operations, or whatever you want to call it, in the 10-man system. And I'll talk about it a little bit because I want you to see how quickly this becomes complex, but how simple the pieces are. So that the complexity is A, C, B, A, whichever way you do the different things in order. But if I get back to my numbers. Near one is an A, under is a B, over is a C, under then over is a D, over then under is an E. Don't worry about it. Okay? A, down to right there, is the inverse operation in math. What's plus 1 and minus 1? It's 0. It disappears. And if I do the A prime, I call it, followed by the A, it disappears. So I have A, B, C, D, E, A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime, E prime. 10 very simple little weaves, and they're all different in what they make. 2-weave patterns is 10 squared, is 100 different 2-weave patterns. 3-weave patterns is 10 cubed, which is 1,000 different 3-weave patterns. 4-weave, 10,000. 5 weaves, 100,000. 100,000 is a big number. People don't understand numbers. How long is a million seconds? A million seconds. 11 days. Okay? How long is a billion seconds? 32 years. So a million and a billion are incredibly different in terms of how large they are, but people just don't understand that. But there's a way that you can have an open complexity. If I go over the far lower index and then pick up the A and down flip it, I say that I'm going into the A universe. I mean, the kids love that. A universe A prime. By going over that one string, I frustrate that inverse relationship barely. B prime. So an A universe A prime, which almost is nothing, B prime, turns out to be an open complexity. See, it is a much bigger web, and it is so that I can do 10, 11 weaves and use my knowledge of the inverse relationship and make these very long bridges. There is a very long bridge that I've made in 10 minutes. This one right here, see? I got a little circle at the end, got a relax in the middle, and all kinds of things. It's a big long suspension. And that's 11 weaves. And 10 to the 11th power is how many, actually it's more than that, because the universe is another 10 weaves. I have A universe, B universe, all the way through Z universe. And I have different openings. And I don't know if I should be showing off or playing with you in the strings, but let me show off a little bit, because it's part and parcel of why this is important, that a student can do a whole semester and just get started.
So you should be a teacher here.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. Or there's another figure. So those two, the diamonds and the 10 men. And then I teach an Inuit or an Eskimo figure, which is, again, a web. The Eskimos call it a net, a fish net. But you can see that it is the fish net. It's a web. But again, I look for inverse, because the inverse mathematically allows you to really begin to make a difference. If I weave that as my first weave, reset this loop, and then flip this one, that's the inverse. So I get back to 0. So now I'm going to do a long figure. First we rotate the figure on the other side, because the way I frustrate the inverse in this system is by rotating the figure all the way to the other side, and then I put a cape in the middle. And I'm going to do that 3 more times, exactly the same. It's kind of like watching grass grow, but I'm going to do it so that I can put the information in there. Because when I first started, I was interested in complexity. And complexity is, it's a beguiling. It's something that you get hung up on, and you forget how simple things are, and how you have to understand the simple things before you learn the complex things. But it's another long story. But you know, I'm trying to talk while I'm doing this, so I hope I'm doing it correctly, because doing this and talking is like doing 2 different things at once, and it's kind of hard to do it all the way. Okay, I think I've done them enough. One more time then. And then I'm going to finish with the Inuit net from the beginning, as if I had nothing in the center. And And because there's so much information, you'll see that it doesn't show. But if I use the power level, you can see I call it the Cherokee 7 stars, but it's a very nice figure because it's an adroit use of the inverse relationship. And it's an almost, you know, it's very, I like it a lot. It's one of my favorite figures.
Is that Inuit net, you said? It's an Inuit figure? No, I thought you said it's Inuit.
Inuit
Yeah.
net is where that comes from.
Okay.
That's the third figure I showed you that I use, is the fishnet. And that is the fishnet writ large, with understanding of what makes the fishnet. You know, I tie a different knot.
It's an expansion of the idea.
Yeah.
And you can get very complex things in that system also. And those are all that I teach. I teach those 3 figures and then changes. So that you spend, it's a little hard to learn the first figure. You all will agree that I can't do that, right? So you have to spend some time, but once you have learned that spending time teaches you, and you then own that information, then you become a determined learner. You want to learn, you work to learn, you know that if you do that, you're going to learn. So that's essentially what my system is. 3 simple figures, some different techniques. I want to try one more just to show you another thing that I do with the Inuit net, and then we will go back to playing with the string.
No, it's nice to see.
Well, I know. It's, but I also know how much fun it is playing with the string. And I want you all to come away with this with a positive feeling, not something that you can do. But that's why I say that the internet website is something that you should go look at, because if you can find your way on it with a string, and you all have a string, if you don't, I'll get you one of you. I'll make you a couple that you can take with you. Then you're on your own, you're on your way, and then you can, I guess, learn that you can learn anything, even how hard it looks. See, whenever you put a lot of information there, some of them don't come out of these. They're not magic. They're still magic figures. This is a magic figure. Now, I'm going to start the same way. Except I'm going to do is what is called artillery. I learned this from the Eskimo figure. I'm doubling that loop. I'm bringing it together. Now I'm going to do the first weave of the enemy, but only with the non-translation. Straight. Roll it over on the other side, and again, just like with the Cherokee 7 stars, do the inverse. Roll it back. And then do that same thing again. Weave, roll it back, inverse. Now that's my information. Now I'm going to do what is basically a Navajo web tonight. Except I'm going to do an anti-inverse. And that makes a running half hitch. I go over both of these because this is a release figure. And I do the same thing again. Put a double half hitch on top and bottom because I ask myself if I can make complex figures like things in the body, because these are basically spirals. DNA is basically a spiral of information which folds on itself. I release that and I do like this, and I get what is interesting. Now I'm going to put 2 diamonds. Remember the 2 diamonds? Exactly the same, because those are techniques, those are tools that you use when you're building complex figures. And I have it there. And there's another thing, when I did the Cherokee 7 stars, I used Murphy's power level. And this is a mouth with teeth. So was like a pour on your body. And there's the water, there's no water. That's the water, the adjusted now. And it's a magic figure, unlike Cherokee 7-star, comes right out. Yeah. Now let's play this game. And I won't wander among you. Has anybody been able to do 2 weeks by themselves? Or you got one? I thought you did. Everybody have a string?
Ouais. Tu m'en as écrit ça?
Okay.
Oui, c'est
Can anybody do the 2 diamonds? Well, anybody besides my daughter? Because I want you to start teaching each other. That's, okay, we'll get started.
We make you.
That's right. Drop your thumb, index finger. Over your finger.
Moi, je vais aller chercher là. Je crois que t'as oublié de enlever son coude.